to Wrestling Sheet Radio. It's our first episode powered by Collider on Podcast One. Thank you so much to all of you who have been waiting, who have been tweeting me, who have been dying for us to come back. I can't thank you enough. Your support means the world to me. It means the world to us. I badly wanted to be on video. For those of you who are listening via iTunes or whatever podcast network you're using, probably the Podcast One app, I hope. Whatever you're listening to this on, though, the show is also available on video now. When this goes up on iTunes and Podcast One and everywhere else, the video is also going to go up on Pro Wrestling Sheet's YouTube channel. You'll see the three of us. I'm here with my co-hosts, as always, Jamie Iovine.
Hello, everybody.
And Elijah Bates.
Pleasure to be here, everyone.
And yes, like I was saying, the video is going to be on Pro Wrestling Sheet's YouTube channel. I've been, since the deal with Collider, now that Pro Wrestling Sheet is powered by Collider, I have all this fun stuff available at my disposal. We got this cool podcast room where we can film stuff in.
We have a table
with wrestling belts around us and toys, and
which I'm assuming will be ever growing.
Yes,
Our collection.
Absolutely. To be honest with you, I've been so focused on just getting this show back and out there again, and just to be chatting with you guys. I miss talking with you guys.
It's been a long time. I'm not sure I could still do it. You know, we used to do this off top like all the time, and I'm out of practice. I'm a little ring rust, if you will.
I think that the second we started talking a couple minutes ago, I was like, oh yeah, it's back, baby.
Well, you were already talking before this, like you were being recorded. Like the way.
Well, that's just how I talk. That's how I am.
You missed it too when you went to go to the bathroom. He was just sitting here with the headphones on, ready to go, and I was like, "Hey, we're gonna be a few minutes. Like, you don't have to be ready to go with the headphones on."
I was writing angry texts, and I needed the silence so I could focus my anger. Actually,
but like I was saying, now that we're here at Collider, I have all these cool things at my disposal, and we've got a cool set. We've got production stuff, people helping me with a bunch of things. It's not just me working on the site all day and these guys coming in.
It's kind of a dream come true.
Honestly, it really is. If you had told me 6 months ago this was going to happen, I wouldn't have believed you. I was starting to lose faith that I was going to find a company that I could partner with. And honestly, I can't even tell you guys how happy I've been the past few weeks. I know that everyone has really been wanting the show back, but there are so many things that I needed to handle on the back end of the site. Just so many things. Just you guys have no idea all the stuff that I've been doing in the office every day. Like, I've been doing my best to get stories on the site while doing them, but there's just so many things that I've been handling in the interim.
I can definitely say that you seem like a much more content person. We actually used to talk a lot of trash about you, about how miserable of a human being you were before this.
I was getting a little bit miserable, you know?
You were a horrible person to be around.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay. Because but I was getting, it's to be completely honest with you, when you work alone in your apartment for 3 years and you don't have a lot of interaction with other human beings, or
you're with your thoughts.
You're only with your thoughts.
Well, your dogs were there.
My dogs were there too, and I obviously had people to talk to, but just the few weeks that we've been here at Collider, having people to interact with that are giving their 2 cents on things related to the site. Because they work here and it's part of the family now.
I mean, it already feels bigger, and we're not mean. Eli's been you recorded something, but I feel we haven't really, by and large, done anything, and it's already just been moving around. And I feel like people like will see those videos that you do. Like, did they fire Eli and Jamie? Like,
no, I know. Every time I'd post one, they were like, "Hey, what's up with the podcast? When's the podcast?"
There were a lot of comments about it, so it's definitely a pleasure to be back.
But I hope our view count doesn't go down, because they haven't really been able to put faces to voices yet. And now they have, and I don't know.
Hi.
People you think now you think the money maker's involved?
Well, now we got to be on point. Now we got to show up looking right. I used to show up with tie-dye hoodies and
does that mean the poncho season's out and no more ponchos?
Well, it's out in general because it's 100 degrees outside. And is including in this room.
I'm mostly stoked that people get to scope out my sweet beard all the time.
And
too.
all your Patagonia.
Yeah, how is that not the thing that you
may get a sponsorship.
You literally went, I thought you were doing it just to fuck with me, that you wore a sleeveless vest.
No,
You
this
use
is-
the
this
vest
is-
thing day one when it's 100 degrees
Hey,
outside. You
you
wore a
guys-
vest.
They're gonna make the Eli subscription box. It's gonna come with a vest. It's gonna come with a flint,
A Disney pin.
It's gonna come. With,
I would be very okay with.
It's
all
gonna
of
come with
this.
a water canteen that converts river water to drinkable water.
That would be great. Do those exist?
They do, I think. Yeah.
I should
for
have 'em.
years.
You should. Why don't you have one?
I do have a water purifier, and I am going camping in a couple weeks too, so I will be using it. But maybe I should look into those. Patagonia, if you're listening.
Now,
If you guys have seen Mr. Deeds and where Steve Buscemi's house lives, that's where Eli's gonna live in his
one day
later
for
years.
sure. Yeah, I will be deranged and crazy in no time at all.
now, okay, so a little bit of info here at the top. For those of you who have always listened to Wrestling Sheet Radio or who've been subscribers, you're not going to have to subscribe to anything different. I learned today that weird back end stuff talk. You're not going to have to subscribe to a new channel or anything like that. But
I don't think that's even back end talk. What you just
I
said.
don't even know
it
what
is.
that is.
Yeah,
what
see,
you just
yeah,
said.
no, it is. Trust me, because I even was like, it was like this RSS feed thing where like I'm able to transfer my feed to the new feed to where there's not going to have to be any change. But we're on podcast. We're on podcast.
That
one
type
now
of
and
language
stuff.
is Snoozeville, USA to me.
Yeah, exactly. So, but what I can say is Wrestling Sheet Radio is now going to be a full feed. So we are the flagship show on Fridays, Wrestling Sheet Radio, where we're going to talk about all the biggest news stories of the week, like we've always done. But in addition to that, we're going to have a few other shows. Now, I had been putting Collider Bodyslam on ProWrestlingSheet.com. It's a show. It's a wrestling show they were already doing here on the Collider Factory feed. Now, some of you who are listening to this right now, that's where you're listening. You're listening on the Collider Factory feed. Now, those of you who are on that feed, you will have to go subscribe to the Wrestling Sheet Radio feed. Just go back, search Wrestling Sheet Radio. You'll find us there. Subscribe there, and there's going to be a whole slate of content coming out every week. It's going to be on Tuesdays. It's going to be myself and John Roca, who is a fixture here at Collider. He and I were going to be doing the Raw recap show on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, he and I are going to be doing a Smackdown recap show. On Thursdays, you're going to get Top 5 with James McKenna and Kevin Silva, former Wrestling Sheet Radio co-host. Now, some of you are probably already listening to that in the feed, but for those of you who are in the Collider Factory feed, basically, those are two of the contributors at ProWrestlingSheet.com, and they have a very positive pro wrestling show every week where basically it's a top 5 list of their favorite things in wrestling that week. So because it's on Thursdays now, I believe they're going to be including NXT talk as well. And basically, it's just 5 things that they really enjoyed this week in the world of professional wrestling.
And it's a fresh breath of air, you know. It's a very even we're negative a lot of the time, you know. It's if you really want to just get a feel good show about professional wrestling.
It's like the Family Matters of professional wrestling.
Although James really didn't like Raw this week, and he let it be known a little bit on the show during one point during the
he's gonna
dishonorable mention.
compromise. He's going to compromise
but
the
for
show.
but for the most part, they're very positive.
Well, occasionally, even Urkel has his feelings hurt by Carl.
Yeah.
And us.
And Urkel comes out sometimes too.
Stefan Urkel?
Yeah, Stefan Urkel. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess Urkel is not the name.
I-
Stefan is the name he's known.
I was
and
like,
I'm sorry
who's-
for our viewers watching me fidget with this microphone for the first 15 minutes. I only got it where no.
Well, don't worry, we hear you just fine.
Here we are.
And then, okay, so then on Thursday, Top 5. On Friday, Wrestling Sheet Radio is going to come out, I believe, 8 a.m. or something like that on Fridays. And then on Saturday, it's going to be a show that is focused on Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, TNA, or excuse me, Impact Wrestling, Indies, all that kind of stuff. That's going to be hosted by Aaron Turner and Jay Washington. So lots of stuff's going to be hitting
That's
the
a lot
feed.
of content.
Who are these people?
These are all people that were working that are in the Collider family. You know, Aaron,
Already here?
Yes. So Aaron and John Roca, who's going to be doing the recaps with me, they hosted a show together called Collider Bodyslam. But it was kind of similar in format to our show.
Yeah.
So I had, you know, I wanted to keep them involved. I didn't want them to not do their show.
Eli,
You know,
we got 3 other shows to compete with now. Holy shit.
Yeah,
I'm
you guys
scared.
you guys
we gotta be good.
I am scared.
You guys got to make sure this is the A show. We're the
We gotta
flagship.
be good. Brought to you by Collider.
That was backwards.
It's the new era.
Okay, well, let's jump into this. I think we've done it. Did I cover everything?
That was a long ass intro. Let's get into
I had a lot of dude. It's been a few weeks. There's a lot of stuff that's happened.
Wrestling.
Yeah, Collider. Go to and just hey, if you weren't already familiar with Collider, if you're a movie news fan, you should go check out Collider. You should go follow them on Twitter, on Facebook. You should go make sure you follow. Go to their website and check it out. I was already a huge fan of Collider before starting here. I'm a big fan of their movie news. I'm a nerd when it comes to movie news. So I'm a big fan of Collider in general. So those of you who maybe aren't familiar with Collider, definitely go check out their stuff. There's a lot of wrestling fans here. They do this movie trivia Schmodown, which is basically trivia meets wrestling.
That battle will be mine.
Yeah, we're gonna get involved.
It'll be mine.
All right.
Here's the thing I've been
It'll be
wondering
mine.
before we get into Evolution, if we do the movie trivia Schmodown, I don't know how much I've been catching up now on. I've been going digging around, kind of getting familiar with everybody for when we take over from the sheet takeover of Schmodown.
Right.
The combined knowledge of me and Eli, that's a tall
To be
task,
honest with you,
sir.
I think they want me on the team, but I think my plan. I think I'm going to be your guys' manager because you guys are much better than me when it comes to movie trivia.
We got
We'll
it.
be like a veritable Hart
But
Foundation
here's my question.
here, and
Here's
you
my
could be
question.
Jimmy Hart.
Here's my question, though.
Sure.
They already have like 3 heel factions that are like heavy heels.
We'll be the New Day. Fuck it.
So we're gonna have to be the baby faces.
Okay.
here.
Okay.
So I just
Totally
need you
fine
guys
with
to.
that.
I need you guys to be thinking of your baby face personas because I know it's easy to be the heel, but we're gonna have
But
there's some pretty
we
heavy
have
stables.
to do traditional baby faces.
Okay. Yeah. Like
Traditional.
like
what kind of traditional baby face you thinking?
I'm thinking like rockers.
That's
style
what,
face.
when I heard the babies. So we're tasseling.
Why don't we come out to the Rockers
we
music?
need some tassels.
We should come out to the Rockers
Yeah.
music. All right, that's it.
All right.
See how easy that was?
That was easy enough. Okay. Well, this was a big week in wrestling. We broke.
It's been a few weeks in wrestling. We haven't been able to talk about this in like 2 months.
What's wrestling?
Now the first is actually pretty appropriate here because the first exclusive that we really broke in the Collider era at Pro Wrestling Sheet was when discussions began, when they were seriously underway for Evolution.
Yeah.
That was earlier this month.
Okay.
We'll put that up. And things really rapidly kind of steamrolled from there, and it all led to today's Thursday, so last week it was when they put out an announcement saying that Stephanie was going to make a historic announcement. This was going to be a huge thing.
I feel like I've seen that.
As she likes to do.
I feel like I've seen that pre-announcement so many times now. It's like, okay, what could this possibly?
What do you say we make history again?
You know that she had it took everything in her power not to do it. You know that they wanted to do that, but she couldn't because everyone was making fun of it on the internet before. Because everybody was saying that, like, all right, ladies, let's make history again.
Yeah, they've done it a lot.
Okay, so
It's been quite a year.
do you think? Okay, first and foremost, do you think that they lived up to the hype? Because I know that I might have.
What do you mean? They haven't done anything yet.
No, I mean the historic nature of the announcement. Do you think it was as historic as they hyped it up to be? Because I have seen people go, well, I mean, there's been women's wrestling events. There's been, not WWE.
Yeah.
But there was a TNA one.
Of course, and there was Glow. Of course, there was something that was focused all entirely on women's wrestling. But yes, I think this is a huge deal because this is a sign of what is to come in the WWE. I mean, I just showed you guys this, and that was news. Like, you guys hadn't known this when they listed the top. I think was it Forbes Business? I forget, or is it? I forget who listed.
I think it was
that.
Forbes.
It was Forbes. Like, yeah, it was
The article you sent us? Yeah.
It was like listed the top 100 most influential athletes.
Yeah.
And this is Forbes. This isn't Sports Illustrated. This isn't. This is Forbes,
Yeah.
who has no tie to WWE whatsoever.
Yeah.
And they listed not one specific, but the entire female roster of the WWE is number 4
Yeah.
in the world of the top most influential people in sports.
That's pretty big.
That's wild.
Yeah,
So
that's-
I think that yes, this is a huge deal, and this is going to be. This isn't Glow. This isn't an indie show. This isn't a one-off. This is going to have the full WWE production.
Yeah.
This is going to have a pre-show.
Yeah.
This is going to be. If this didn't have an all-female commentary team, I'd be shocked. And I
saw.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that.
why not?
Well,
Yeah.
first and foremost, I agree with you. I almost think it'd be silly if there was guys on the announcement. They have to
They
go.
had JR in the Mae Young Classic because they weren't sure Bethine. It was Beth, or is it Lita?
No,
I don't think it's gonna be-
Was it Lita?
It was Lita,
right?
'cause they were
It was
worried
Lita.
she-
Yeah, it was Lita and JR to the first Mae Young Classic. Yeah, But I'm with you. I think they have to go all in on. Like they have to.
There has to be a female ring
Has
announcer.
to be female ring announcers. There has to be female referees. They've got 2 of them in NXT now. They have to. I think they have to make the point to do that now.
I would agree with that. Outside of the fact that outside of Renee Young, they don't really have somebody that's a good commentator.
I throw
something
Beth
It's
in
interesting
there.
because Renee Young has. I found this funny actually because Renee Young has. She had that short opportunity,
And I thought she was good.
I did too, but she has since gone on and done multiple. I've seen her tweet it multiple times because everyone always tweets her like, "When are you going to announce? When are you going to announce?" And she has said like, "I don't think I was that good of an announcer."
Which is crazy because considering that she only did it for a hot minute, and considering that she hadn't done. I mean, she hasn't. She used to do sports stuff, but not professional wrestling commentary because that's, as we all know now, that's a very different beast. And you have somebody yelling at you 90% of the time. And I think for being just thrown into the pool like that, and for how short she did, because you really got to grow.
Yeah.
You gotta learn. There's some things you can't get taught during that.
Yeah, I'm a little curious also, like, okay, so let's say they have an all-female, and I know it's probably a bigger deal that, like, it's a wrestling event and we're caught up on commentary, but I'd be interesting to see kind of what the atmosphere is in terms of how they communicate through the headphones, because that's always like the most perilous part of announcing in the WWE, as we've heard from so many different people, is like
put Stephanie there instead of Vince.
So if it's an all-female announcing team, is it all females communicating to them?
No, it's not going to be all. They're not going to.
I highly doubt Vince is just going to leave.
I feel like it would just be Sarah Amato sitting back there, like doing a bunch of buttons, running around to cameras.
What's the gorilla position going to be like? Is it just going to be Michael Hayes back there as usual? I mean, what's that going to be?
Hey, boss, I got long hair. Let me stay here, boss.
Let me start. I got better hair than a lot of these
I
girls.
got better style. I got better hair. Put some lipstick on me.
But I can't say idea anymore, by the way. Thanks to Conrad and Bruce Pritchard, I cannot say idea anymore. I guess, hi, I got an idea. It makes me laugh every time. Anytime somebody says, hi. Because I just imagine, because I was there. Not as long as, nowhere near as long as Bruce was, but I was there. And that is what Michael Hayes does.
Yeah.
Like, it is 100% true. And it's great because I was lucky enough to be able to see at least a little bit of it.
Okay, so let's say it is all female announced team.
Uh-huh.
I feel like the only people right now that come to mind are
Beth.
Renee Young, Beth, Lita. Those are 3 that come to mind that have done it. Not necessarily the best announcers, I wouldn't say, but there are 3. I didn't think Beth was bad by any means when she did the mixed match challenge. But out of those 3, I don't see one of them leading the announce team. I feel like they would need someone else, and
I don't necessarily think that there is somebody that could do that, like that we've seen, that we've experienced already.
They might have to bring in somebody.
I'm thinking off the top of my head right
do you think they're going to do like Maria Menounos is going to be brought in?
I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked.
You know who's another name that comes to mind that is a talking head that likes wrestling that I could maybe see them talking to is Michelle Beadle.
Yeah.
She's like a popular person.
Yeah,
She's very popular. She likes wrestling.
She's not on that level of star power. But what about our friend Carolyn? Not Carolyn. I just butchered her name.
Catherine?
Give me something.
She's
Kathy Kelly.
No, not Kathy Kelly.
No?
No. She's a friend of ours. We see her at the indie shows all the time. Blonde girl. She's on Fox News.
Blonde girl on Fox News that we see at indie shows. Nothing's coming to mind.
Anyway.
I do love though.
She was my choice, but you guys don't even know.
It's quite humorous that this is like such big.
I know who you're talking about. No, not Fox News, Fox Sports.
Yeah.
God, now I'm gonna be mad.
She's fun. She's dope.
Yeah.
It's like it's a weird spelling.
No, I know who you're. It's
Cameron.
It's like
I know who you're talking about.
Kathleen, Caitlin, something like that.
I'm gonna sit here and I'll keep googling it, but I know who you're talking about.
Kathleen
Yes.
Kennedy. No, wait, no.
No, I don't know.
I
know exactly who you're talking about though.
Yeah,
Carolyn Baith.
Yep.
There we go.
It. Yeah, she's good work. Yeah, that's it. I think she's dope. She does great work on Fox. She knows the product.
That took me a sec. I'm glad I got that, though.
I think she'd be a solid choice.
That is curious. Like, I mean, that like if they don't include, let's say, like Michael Cole or somebody like that, that's still the voice of the WWE more or less too. I mean, I could still like I get it. It's an all-female event and everything like that. But at the same time, I could see them having somebody like Michael Cole there just to guide everybody else too. Because the fact of the matter is this: none of those people, all the people that we named off, none of them have like necessarily years of experience guiding the product along as somebody like Michael Cole does, who would be able to direct them. So I could see in this first instance them having somebody like him, kind of a veteran of that realm, and everything like that.
Until they get.
And the thing is like I'm not adamantly opposed to that. I understand that it's an all-female event and everything like that. And in a perfect world, you would have those people in place. Unfortunately, this is the first all-female event, so you don't have those people in place. You don't have like those commentators trained and ready to go yet. But maybe this is the beginning of that too.
So the announcement.
I'm shocked that they don't have a regular commentator every single week that's female.
No,
that's kind of crazy, isn't it? Because they do have like this powerful woman.
Not even. I mean, like.
Well,
started Renee at NXT.
You can look at the announced teams and see that the WWE clearly has a very set pattern. They've got like the nerdy news guy, the black
vet,
guy, and the alt person.
The
alt kind of cool person.
I feel maybe not so much anymore, because there's always the one vet color commentator, but they've kind of phased them all out.
No, yeah, they really have. Well, I guess there's Michael Cole, but more
he was
Michael
never
Cole,
a competitor.
and who's Smackdown? Who's
Smackdown is Byron, Corey, and Tom.
Yeah, because I guess Corey's on both, so that makes sense. Yeah, and Tom. Yeah, no, they're very similar people. I would love if they had a female. I mean,
I really think they should give Renee another shot. I really do.
I don't know why that just started wagging.
I know.
Oh, the air's working?
I'm scared it's gonna hit Jamie.
I'm not. To be honest with you, I'm not the biggest fan of Lita as a commentator.
Wait, hold on. Is that gonna be in the camera shot? Wait, hold on. You guys keep. I just want to make sure, because if that's in the camera shot, I should probably move it. Hold on a second.
Don't kick my bag. I got a drink back there. Super important.
Is that wait? Put your hand next to it. Can you put your hand?
I already did. I can't even reach it.
Okay, if you can't reach it, it's good then. Sorry about that, everyone. Oh,
I'm not sorry at all.
I was knocking things. I didn't knock your drink over. Calm down. Okay, so the announcement.
Look what you did.
Oh, the Bucks fell down.
I got it.
Okay,
Right next to the skinny-legged Braun Strowman toy.
So, okay, the show began with Vince in the ring. Vince is standing there, which I like. I like that they had Vince there for the announcement.
Yeah, it was cool. But by the way, I don't know if it's the makeup team or him just being 70.
Yeah.
But it really looks like he's on the verge of crying all the time.
I know. I thought the same thing. I've thought that for a long time.
Like,
actually.
all the time. It looks like he's
like
about to cry.
Like the ducks under his eyes always kind of feel like they're welling up and everything. And then not only that, but now when you hear his voice, he's kind of got like that kind of that old man thing that goes on and everything like that.
And he's getting old man ears now. You see that when they get bigger? Yeah, he gets...
You know, I actually noticed those old man ears whenever he got his head shaved many years ago. I kind of saw him starting to take form at that point.
I got to be real. When Vince, his hair hasn't been the same since that.
No.
It hasn't.
Nope.
Well, he doesn't do the pomp anymore.
No, because that's what I remember. It was the pomp. But now he's just the... I remember when it was...
It's not the same.
When it was growing back and it was like a comb over, and I was like, maybe he really did have some plugs and extensions, but I don't know. It feels like, I don't know why. It was looking back on that and just knowing what we know now about him, or what we think we know, it's kind of wild that he did that. Yeah. You know, that he shaved his head.
Yeah. Well, it's what was best for business at the time.
Yeah.
Did either of you guys watch the Impact pay-per-view this weekend?
No.
By the way, it's the first time I'll ever say this. I wanted to see it.
Honestly, I watched most of it. I still didn't watch some of the rest of it, but I watched the last half of it, and it was really good.
I like the new aesthetic. I like the
that was actually the one thing I didn't like. I didn't like the way that looked.
I
thought it looked too indie.
I'm not married to it, but I think it's different, you know. Because I just hated the old Impact set. It looked small no matter where you shot it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought it was like,
and this way you get everybody
honestly,
close.
I think I might just need to get used to it still. I just need
this way you get everybody close together and it sounds louder. I mean, when you watch old Impact shows, it sounds like 30 people are there.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, the reason I asked though is just because of Sami Callihan shaving his head. You guys just mentioned the
Which,
head
by the way,
shaving.
look, he doesn't look. It looks like it's just a different person.
He really does, right?
Like when I saw the video of it, I was like, "That's Sami Callihan."
I know.
Doesn't look anything like him.
It kind of looks better without it though.
I think he's the kind of guy who can make anything work. He's the guy who made uneven curving of the hat brim tight, I guess. You see how he does that?
No, I haven't. I don't think I've noticed.
Whenever he wears a ball cap, he doesn't curve it just center down like that, like a normal person does. He does it curved like this.
Oh, okay.
It's just to be to be Sami Callihan.
I thought you're not supposed to curve the hat anymore.
Well, some of them come
why
not? Why not?
I thought you're like not supposed to. I thought you're supposed to like keep them straight now. Isn't that what people do?
In 2000, maybe.
What?
I thought people don't do the like full.
Did you
thing.
crank that Soldier Boy as well when you did that with your hat?
No, I know the like dad hats have that.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like the regular like.
Well, also
ones.
new era hats aren't really like those. The flat brim aren't really popular anymore. People don't really wear them anymore.
All right. Noted.
I don't-
I'm new to the hat scene, so I'm more asking because I've been new to the hat scene.
Yeah, it's
so.
all about flex fit or dad hats right now.
Yeah.
I've kind of
I
always
I don't like the dad hat. I wear it. I have it.
I like it because it covers your head more and stuff.
I don't like Bobby Lashley's flex fit hat. I don't like it.
What do you like Bobby Lashley right now though?
He's getting.
Is he getting over with you at all? It's been a few weeks now.
No, but the reactions of the fans are very interesting to me. He's been getting reactions.
He has.
Yeah.
People have been cheering him.
I knew that was gonna happen.
All right. Well, that's there.
That almost hit me in the eye.
That was crazy. Okay, wait, hold on 1 second. You guys keep discussing Bob Lashley while I go.
You discuss Bob Lashley.
He disgusting me.
I would say that he's a lot less creepy than he was whenever he first got in and he was talking to his sisters.
He has well, first off, the fact that anybody's going to be able to come back from that.
Like, I mean, my hat's off to him. But you know what I really noticed this past week was without his like headband on, he really sweats a lot. That headband serves a great purpose in his life.
I guess he needs it.
Like, I mean, I don't understand how he sees without that thing.
So, but I'm confused because I haven't really been paying. I mean, I have been watching it, but my heart hasn't just been invested in the.
Yeah.
And I mean, the rumors of Paul Heyman riding that angle are interesting.
Yeah.
Very. And the tape came undone and the cord fell.
It was quite the scene. It almost hit me in the eyeball.
We don't have to stop tape or anything. This is all can stay in. I like this. I like the natural. You guys are. Oh, I knocked them all over again. I like that you guys are all here with us. You're going through this with us. Dennis, you're gonna see what it's like. Real TV, YouTube magic here.
It's live, damn it.
Yeah.
Just get it in the ring.
It's the magic of the internet.
You want to close the door, though?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab a chair.
Cool.
Take that down.
Thanks, dude.
But we were just basically talking about how he's a little less creepy.
Yeah, he's
Because
less
he-
creepy
He
than
has
whenever he's
gotten a
talking
little
to his
less
sisters.
creepy than the sister situation. Honestly,
But
to be
wait-
completely honest with you,
I love you.
the whole Roman Reigns thing.
Looking right at the camera.
What's funny to me is that you would think that a feud with Sami Zayn would get Roman Reigns more over than a feud with Roman Reigns.
You just said Roman
Wait, I'm sorry.
Reigns twice.
Sami Zayn
And
in a
Bobby
feud with
Lashley.
Bobby Lashley than a feud with Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns, like to get Lashley over.
Yeah.
But this Roman Reigns-Lashley feud has really done so much more to help get him over.
And you know what did it? The turning point for Bobby Lashley is when he won 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Nobody
say,
thought he was going to win.
I was gonna say it was more when Roman Reigns started calling him Bob.
Yeah.
I think him calling him Bob for some reason has helped the situation a
I
little bit here.
do love that you call him Bob now, too.
Yeah, it just stuck with me. It's
Yeah.
just Bob now.
All right.
Because we already have a Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I never really called him Bobby Lashley. I always called him Lashley.
And he's the man without a finish.
I never really called him.
Suplex, that's his finisher.
Well, no, but not anymore. Now he's spearing people now.
I don't like it.
Yeah, because it's the battle of the spears.
Oh, you okay?
It's been quite a first show today.
Yeah, you guys all got that on video. That's what you guys are going to get on the YouTube Pro Wrestling Sheet channel.
All good. Just fixing
You okay?
Ryan's
You're good?
Toys. The toys are all back.
Toys are back.
You guys okay here? You good?
Braun, you and your skinny legs, you good? You guys good over there? Okay, cool. Thank you, Dennis.
Get these legs.
I'm going to be closer to my buddy Finn. Yeah, that's more like
I
it.
don't like these skinny little bucks. Come here, Finn. I might break one.
I don't know them. I shot $12 this morning with my dad.
Did you see the video? I love the video this morning that Braun posted on his Instagram story.
Am I the only one that wanted to see what other the following video with his shoes?
I wanted. Wait, I only saw him pulling it. I only saw him.
No, you pull up, but then like it cuts like the beginning
jumps.
of the second one.
Yeah.
Starts,
Oh, the one
but
that
then
I
it
posted?
cuts. Yeah.
Oh, it was someone else.
Yes, because like there's the next snap or story,
Yeah.
whatever he posted was
No, it wasn't
a bunch
him.
of shoes.
It was someone else. It was Sasha Banks' husband, and I was like, well, that's it was no. There
I was like, I want to see what else is happening.
no, but
Let me see his shoes.
I tweeted the video from the
love
Wrestling
to.
Sheet account. That's what Jamie's talking about. But it's great for those of you who didn't see it. It's Braun, and he clearly bought a new house.
It looks like the front of MC Hammer's house.
Yeah, that it did.
It's
looked like
literally
the
like
front
these
of the-
giant. Well, it's like clearly he's in a gated community, but the video definitely makes it look that way. Like he's got like this giant compound he's bought, and it's got these golden gates basically
That
like,
open
opening
with a
up
clicker.
to let him in, and he's just like, "Oh, Braun's moving on up. Monster is gonna be in the big time now."
This here clicker.
See,
He's so happy to have a clicker to get in the gate.
I was a little bummed that he didn't have to climb a beanstalk to get home.
I want to see. By the way, the fact that there's so many things WWE could do with the network, which by the way, it's so insane to me that the network just runs whatever they just released on. If you just want to watch it
Yeah.
live, why not just throw on random? You have enough. Just
Yeah.
throw random shit on.
Yeah,
every
just
once
all
in a
the
while.
time.
But they don't.
No.
But I'm saying, they could also. Why have they done WWE version of Cribs yet?
I don't know.
I would love
They
that.
kind of did that for that show. What was that?
Confidential.
Confidential back in the day. They went to William Regal's house. They're like, did you know William Regal loves lizards? I remember being like, well, this isn't quite the episode of Cribs that I thought it was going to be.
Not the
but-
great kickoff one. Like, I'd imagine if everybody's house, William Regal's would be the most boring. It'd just be a lot of books.
I know, right? I bet you Mean Jeans would mostly be vodka.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the announcement. So Stephanie Vince, he introduces Stephanie and Triple H. Stephanie and Triple H come out. They talk about everything the women have done. They bring the women forward. They announce Evolution. It's going to be at the Nassau Coliseum on October 28th. It's going to feature the Mae Young Classic Finals, the Raw, SmackDown, the NXT Women's Championship, and the NXT UK Women's Championships will all be defended at the show.
That's a loaded card.
Yeah.
Like, that's an actual loaded card.
I mean, I was
And-
talking about this in the YouTube video that we did earlier this week with Roka, where, in the announcement, they said there's going to be 50 women participating.
Yeah.
Past president.
But they didn't say, it wasn't clear if, they meant 50 women are going to be wrestling or they're just going to be
Like
50
50
women
involved.
involved.
I would assume
because
it's-
that would be a lot to cram into one card.
Yeah.
I think
like-
it's involved.
I think it's involved.
But
as
what
well.
is that even going to mean? They're just going to do like they do at WrestleMania where they parade a few
There
on
might be
stage?
a tag. There might be a tag match. There might be a battle royal. There might be.
Backstage.
I just feel like if they do a Battle Royal, it's way too similar to the Women's Royal Rumble, no?
And also the Battle Royal that they did at WrestleMania as well.
Yeah, like they
Battle
kinda-
Royal also just feels like such like a cop-out.
Yeah,
now
it's
at
like,
this
okay,
point.
we get it. You're going to throw a bunch of who we
It's
haven't
like,
seen in one match.
in WWE in general, like a Battle Royal should never be on a pay-per-view. Like I feel like that's something that sets something up for a pay-per-view because you already have the most important Battle Royal of all time in the Royal Rumble. So it's just like every other one's just kind of like
It's not
again,
the greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah, well.
Which we'll talk about that a little bit. That's one of the
I'm
topics here.
like,
today.
honestly, there was part of me at first when I heard the initial announcement, and I'm stoked for it.
Yeah.
I would never want
before
to
before you get into you're actually the opinion I wanted to hear the most because when we watched the Women's Royal Rumble, you were just kind of like grump-faced the whole time.
Well,
and you
I
were
was
like,
also I was really hungover. Too.
I know, but you were very like
And had just gone through a breakup as well.
Holly, God damn it!
so many said the whole match. So it was
I felt like I was gonna die. Okay, both
I
internally and externally. My heart was broken. No, but like,
Why is Vicky Guerrero here?
the first thing I thought about was and this is not something that's a discredit to the women. This is something I think about at every pay-per-view event now. Can they keep the crowd's excitement going the entire event? The last couple of pay-per-views, if it's not a big four, big five, or what do you want to refer to like the big dog pay-per-views as, they can be a little underwhelming and long.
big dog pay-per-views. I like that.
Well,
Even with the men and women.
for sure. That's what I'm saying. It's like, greatest Royal Rumble. That's right. So at the same time, it's just like, will they be able to sustain the excitement level? That having been said, once they started announcing stuff like the NXT UK and other aspects like that, I was like, oh, okay, they're really going to make this like a universal WWE women's event. And I think that will be enough to sustain the crowd. However, I'm also curious, have they sold tickets for this already?
No.
Okay, so like I'm not trying to be anti-event. I'm curious actually to see how the ticket sales go and how the crowd response goes to the entire event.
Well, it's look at as much as I'm pumped and people are pumped, I understand where you're coming from because there is, look, as much as wrestling fans, there's a large portion of wrestlers who don't like women's wrestling. Like, I like women's wrestling a lot. But I know someone like my dad kind of like fast forwards through women's wrestling and stuff like that. So, I have had the same thoughts in my head as well. And, I had someone else mention to me the fact that they also, they have a lot to... What's the word I'm looking for? They have a lot riding on their first women's pay-per-view because if it's booked it poorly or the matches aren't good, if it's 3 hours of crappy matches, people are going to be pissed, and it might hinder that happening again in the future.
Yeah. This is the issue that they have to deal with and overcome, and it's not a huge issue, and I don't think that they'll have a huge problem doing it. It's just, even though WWE has grown its audience by and large with the female audience, it's bigger than it ever has been.
Yeah,
by no question.
Absolutely.
But men still are the majority, still, and whenever I find out about people that aren't as interested in women's wrestling as others, say as yourself, it's not so much that it's like, oh, that's girl shit. No, not at all. It's because a lot of fans want to relate to the people they're watching, whether it be a hero on TV or a main character in a video game. They want to relate to the person that they want to live through that person. Yeah. And by and large, men, not because they don't want to, and it's not a sexist thing or anything, that just it's a completely different species of person. Yeah. So they can't relate. Like, they don't. It's weird to say that. This is just from what I've observed. Yeah. Like, it's not so much like, oh no, like they want the women to have opportunities. Absolutely. Yeah. It's amazing what they've done in the past few years. But the fact of the matter is that these people can't look at, like, they look at Stone Cold Steve Austin because that's the everyman. Yeah. And it's by and large especially back then, it was nothing but men, They relate to the guy who's being shit on by his boss. That they want to live through that. They can't really live through that with a woman. I mean, and I'm not saying that it's neither right or wrong. It's just perception.
Well, to some extent, like, when I think about this event, like, Mike, I have similar concerns as you, and others as well. And part of me now, is thinking, it's like, are they really seriously trying to grow that other demographic of their business? Are they really trying to make us like, hey, we want this arena to be packed with girls, actually? Or if it's something where they're just like, no, we want our continual fan base just to like this as well. So, like, I'd be interested. Like, it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out on the demographical breakdown of that audience that goes to it, that's a big fan of it, that tweets about it, that responds to it. I'm really interested just to see, like, what those numbers are and kind of how the audience fragments in the ways that it does for this event. Because
they can't rely on just females buying tickets. They can't. No. That'd be a horrible, horrible, horrible decision. Because they won't sell. It won't sell out if they.
I hope my positive side, the positive person in me hopes that the poll's looking all in and just sells out instantly.
Which would be awesome.
That's what I'm really hoping happens.
Incredible.
Because that really would send a message. I think that it really would show the WWE that there is an audience for this, and might even lead to an all-women show.
Yeah. Which if that were to happen and it sells out, amazing. Yeah. I think we're all in agreement that we want that show to be a success.
How do you? Yeah, absolutely. Let's say they did do an all-women show. Let's say that happened. Let's say this.
What do you mean?
was like
they are doing it.
No. Like a television weekly. Like
you mean like a new show?
Like a 205 Live
episodic
for
programming.
women.
Got it.
Women exclusive.
Let's say they were going to do that. Let's say this pay-per-view super successful. Yeah. Roka and I were discussing this on the YouTube video that we did as well, but I want to get your guys' opinion here. How would you foresee that happening? Do you think that they would take the women off of Raw or SmackDown and have them spearhead that show, or do you think they would use the talent that is available from NXT and the Performance Center?
In the end of the day, WWE is a drama. It's a soap opera.
Yeah.
And in order for a lot of stories to work, you need a female presence.
Yeah.
You need a love interest.
Yep.
And when you lose that, you get only, I'm going to beat you up for the belt.
Yeah.
That's all you get. And
which gets old really fast.
Very. And but I'm also a little concerned because what WWE is good at is capitalizing off a series of moments. And they did, just case in point with the Cruiserweight Classic. Cruiserweight Classic, by and large, was incredible. We saw nothing of that when they made the cruise with 205 Live.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, except for the colors.
Yeah, and I find
It's gotten back to it a little bit, but
yes,
but
I mean, yeah, they've made conscious efforts, and the matches
I agree
have
with
gotten
you.
far more exciting, but nowhere near touching the level that the Cruiserweight.
No,
Classic
not at all.
had. And
even
I
just
find,
even production wise, because they had the cool video packages and stuff.
and
like
because
that.
they had that one thing to focus on.
Yeah.
When I think it becomes part of the schedule and part of the well, we gotta do this and we gotta do that and we gotta do that, less and less and less effort and passion and drive will be going into those shows.
Yeah.
Much like with 205 Live.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree with you.
I would also suggest if they do that, I'm totally cool with it. For God's sake, somebody's got to get Sasha Banks an acting coach. Watching her on try to act like this storyline right now,
which is bizarre.
it's bad. I don't know how else to put it. Watching the storyline with her and Bailey, I was just like, they have great matches together, and they have horrible vignettes together.
Yeah, well, that whole "I love you" thing was so weird.
Because it came out of nowhere.
It was like, "I love you," but
It's like, wait, what?
They had like this epic heel turn that was taking place, and then they just blew it off, and they went like Dr. Shelby, and they just like they did all these things where I was just like, no.
I just don't like to talk about my feelings.
And I just like
By the way, I love Dr. Shelby. By the way,
I'm glad they brought Shelby back.
but at a certain point, it's like I'm curious. Is it a woman who's writing that stuff for them? Is it going to be female writers then writing the show? Because I would suggest if you're going to have a show with women with an intended audience that is going to be largely women, you're going to need a female writing staff for that. Because there's no way a dude could ever write about the feelings of a woman and accurately capture it. Ever. Not in a million years. Ever.
And as far as I know right now, the current writing team is all men.
Yeah, I believe so.
It wouldn't surprise me just based off of that storyline and it's not necessarily the highest quality of acting or dialogue, but it's one man's opinion, and I'm a man, so maybe my opinion's less valid.
What about the idea of women's tag team titles then?
They need more women. First off,
Yeah.
Like you can't make a tag. Like how many women?
They do have a lot of women's
There's
tag
five,
teams.
maybe 5 women on each roster.
Well, I'm trying to think. There's like the Iconics.
There's a solid 10 on each roster.
Yeah, they could do it. I read like a list. I remember someone put a list together of all the women's tag teams, and I thought to myself, they could do that.
I would like more people, but when the rumored comment that Stephanie thinks that they're not ready,
Yeah.
I don't agree
This is
with
what
that.
she said. So she did an interview with Sky Sports, and they asked. It was about Evolution, and when they asked about the possibility of introducing women's tag team titles, Stephanie said, "Not quite yet." If they thought about having women's tag team titles defended on this show, she said, "Not quite yet, but that's absolutely something we've heard loud and clear from our fan base, and it's something we're keen on implementing as soon as we are able to."
Well, I hope they do it because I mean, other than I just don't. Maybe they don't have one made yet, but I think it's. I don't know what they're waiting for.
Well, she also said we want to make sure our superstars get the spotlight they deserve, but if it makes sense, then absolutely, that's yet to be determined. Is basically what she said.
Were they saying there's maybe too many belts?
Honestly, that's how I look at it because they're really I am all for women's tag team titles, but there's just so many titles on all the shows that
I mean, there's like New Japan level of
Yeah.
title counts.
I
I feel like every time I
Light
watch
heavyweight 6-man tag
open,
title.
never open middleweight on a Tuesday title.
Beltless title.
It's like, what the
like if
fuck?
anything, at a certain point, it'll become it'll be unique if you don't have a title.
I remember-
Participation title.
I remember the first Wrestle Kingdom I ever watched. I was like, everybody's a champion. Everybody, there's the junior heavyweight tag team. There's 2 tag team championships.
Nobody goes home unhappy in New Japan.
No, I guess not. And then I mean, there's the Intercontinental. Then there's the US. Then it's oh my God, there's so many.
Well,
belts in
I
New
honestly,
Japan.
I honestly feel that same way about WWE as well. You know, I'm remember back in the day whenever they introduced the European title, and I remember being like, "Holy crap, a new belt!" And I was, a teenager at the time when that happened. And I remember thinking, even at the time, I was like, "This isn't very important. This belt doesn't really matter that much."
X-Pac's belt?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Because he was the only one who wore the.
I can't remember who the last one was to have that title even. The only time I really actually felt that that title had prominence was whenever if somebody was like the Euro Continental champion and they had both the European and the Intercontinental at the same time. But I'm with you on like the belt dilution. Like I would prefer that they get rid of one of the females' titles and have tag titles and have those champions go across shows or something like that. Since as you said, the women's rosters are a little bit limited in terms of the number of them
compared to the men. Absolutely.
So it actually in that case, if you eliminated one women's singles champion and then made a tag team championship, then at least you'd have tag teams and singles, but they wouldn't be two sets of singles, like title runs going on at the same time, So, like, I mean, that's the only way that I could really see it work. It worries me a little bit when they're like, NXT UK female champion. I'm like, damn, that's getting real granular.
Yeah, that's how I felt, too. It's like it's getting real deep down the chain there. Like, NXT UK women's champion.
You're the NWA Missouri champion. It's just like, what does that belt mean?
The NWA Wild Side championship. And you're like, wait, what?
You don't get a belt.
And you get a belt?
As former WWE talent here tweeting about, or she posted on Instagram, actually, about Evolution. It's Melina.
Okay.
Saying...
Did she scream?
People keep asking me about Evolution. I don't know. Can this era handle the Wildcat?
When were you the Wildcat? Where did this nickname come from?
Settle down, Wildcat. Settle down.
Where did this nickname come from?
And then should hashtag my savagery ain't PG.
Yeah.
By the way, did you notice I've been posting on the Wrestling Sheet Instagram account again?
Yes. Well done.
You like that?
Yeah.
Those videos been good? Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel a little bad for Melina because I feel like had she been in this
Why
era,
would you say no?
like
Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, if they're inviting you, say yes.
Yeah, I mean, if they do, you better take that
this
job.
is your only shot at relevance again. Sorry.
What have you been for real? But I'm not trying to knock the girl, but she hasn't really been doing much of anything lately.
She has not been in the limelight for a very, very long time.
Yeah. Okay, well, someone who is in the limelight right now is Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle, I feel like, has been kind of the talk of wrestling this week.
Really has.
So for those of you who maybe are unfamiliar, Matt Riddle is a former UFC fighter, but he is also a badass pro wrestler. Dude is probably one of the best wrestlers on the independent scene right now.
Put on arguably one of the most interesting shows WrestleMania weekend.
The Bloodsport,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. In this interview with X-Pac, he was talking about doing Joey Janela's show during WrestleMania weekend and wrestling Ellsworth, and how Ellsworth was all like... He basically said that...
Riddle was wrestling Ellsworth.
Yeah, Riddle wrestled Ellsworth WrestleMania weekend at Joey Janela's whatever the fuck. And
What a random match.
it was a random match. It was fun. But he says that there were people who told him... Matt says people told him that basically tried to get him to beat Ellsworth up for real, to send a message like a WWE thing kind of. And he was like, why the fuck would I do that?
What kind of a message would that
Yeah,
be?
like what kind of message?
I'm
would I
highly
send?
unprofessional.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going to beat up somebody much smaller than I am.
I'm a UFC fighter. I obviously could beat the shit out of James Ellsworth. And so it sounded like that got to James Ellsworth. James Ellsworth was like nervous that Matt was going to shoot on him. So he was super like respectful and stuff like that. But it was a really good interview. The interview with X-Pac that Matt Riddle did
I mean,
this
he
week
must
is
not
awesome.
have ever met Matt Riddle before because...
So chill and
Yeah.
yeah, you would never think that he would do that. But okay, so it all kind of started percolating the rumors this week when Matt started dropping out of different indie events. He dropped out of an OTT wrestling event in Ireland the same weekend as SummerSlam. He dropped out of PWG's Battle of Los Angeles. Honestly, when that happened, that's when I was
That's
like...
the big dog
That's
right
when I was
there.
like, oh, okay, something's happening here. Something.
Nobody pulls out a bull.
You don't just pull out a bull. Like, honestly, WWE is even cool usually with you know,
Finishing your
commitment. So that's the one thing that's been confusing to me in all of this, is that the almost obvious nature of it at this point. Even this interview with X-Pac, I mean, I listened to it. It seemed pretty obvious to me that he's going to WWE just from listening to the interview. I mean, he basically... they addressed the elephant in the room. It was like, oh, can you talk about your free agent status or something like that? And he said, well, I'm in a really good position right now. I work with Evolve on a regular basis, and they have a great relationship with WWE. And then he started talking about how he basically felt like he was stuck in his career for the past couple years, and he wasn't really moving forward. But now that's all kind of changing for him. He said, from what I've gathered and from what I've heard from everybody's at the point where they all want me. And I think they're all big fans of Matt Riddle. I think it's my time to make the right decision, do it, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But then later in the interview, I mean, he was really talking in depth about all this. One thing I found interesting is he basically said, because I don't know, I actually when Matt got fired from UFC and went to do wrestling, was starting to do wrestling, I actually was reported on his first day of training. Like, I remember at TMZ, I thought it was an interesting story.
Yeah.
And I think he was training, I want to say he was training with Blue Meanie for a minute. And so I remember I've been following his career since day one.
Did they publish that story?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we did that story at TMZ. It was like a gallery of his first day at training or whatever. But basically he said that prior to that, when he went to the WWE tryout, that he did everything, and then they kind of like strung him along for 6 months. That
Well,
Johnny
then he had
Ace.
that interesting conversation with Triple H.
Which one?
The one where he said, "Hey, when they like introduced themselves, and Matt said something like, shit."
Now I wanna
Blanking
know
on.
this.
I know. I want to too. I saw your tweet about it, and I was wondering what it was too.
Retweeted at me. Like, hold on, I'm gonna bring it up, but keep talking.
But basically, he said in the interview that he felt like he got strung along for 6
Yeah.
months, and then at the end, Johnny Ace was basically like, "Well, hey, like we're gonna have to, we're not gonna end up signing you." So, and he said that he didn't act pissed on the phone, but that he said like in the back of his mind, he thought to himself, "Well, I'm going to make them regret this.
Yeah.
I'm going to make them pay a lot more money for it down the line." And so he talked about how he feels like there are a lot of people get signed to WWE to work out, to train at the Performance Center that get signed too early before they have learned their identity, before they know what their character is going to be.
Okay,
You figured it out now?
Because I got the transcript. Of
Well, I'll
what
finish
the-
the statement. So
yes.
so he said that he basically like that they go there too early, they haven't discovered their identity yet, and that he's happy that ended up happening because he went out there, had to do his own thing, and really figured out his identity.
Dude
and now
created a name for himself
Yeah.
in the wrestling industry. That's not the easiest thing to do. Like, a lot of people from UFC say they want to come into the world of wrestling, but like that's not that. There's very little transition in that in either of those directions.
So what was this conversation? I want to hear this now too.
Matt Riddle was asked to come to an NXT show a few years ago, and Triple H comes up to him, and he says, "I had," in quote, "very few words. I talked to Triple H probably a year ago. It was last year's Royal Rumble, not this year's Royal Rumble. He came up to me at an Evolve event. He goes, 'Hey, I appreciate what you're doing here.' I look at him and I go, 'I appreciate what you're doing here.' Then he looked at me kind of weird and he goes, 'I just want to thank you for everything you've done.' And I go, 'I just want to thank you for everything you've done.'
I do remember
And he looked at me weird and walked away.
Okay, so let's talk about this. He also said in the interview that he knows that he has stuff to learn in wrestling. He's like, "Look, I'm more of like a grapple-based guy. I like fight. It's physically a fight, but I know that like I got to learn how to do a legit clothesline. Like I have to learn how to do, how to play to the camera, how to look at the hard cam." He's like, at wrestling events, there's a hard cam, obviously, but it's a lot different than what it is in WWE.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, since the first time I ever became aware of Matt Riddle, since there was the time when I reported on him, obviously, but since he kind of like then got into Evolve and started putting on awesome matches, and I really saw that like this wasn't just some former UFC fighter who was trying to get in WWE. This was someone who had insane amounts of talent, that just so much potential within him. Very Kurt Angle-like in that sense, where he really picked up on it really fast. Yeah. And I, in my opinion, I could see him having a very similar career trajectory as Kurt Angle in that sense of like, when he gets there, I feel like he's going to just be a huge deal.
Well, I'm really curious how they package him, because we've seen he's sort of, not exactly, but you see a lot of Rob Van Dam in him.
Yeah.
And we've seen and also heard from multiple podcast interviews with him, whether whatever podcast he's on, or even just the one episode of Something to Wrestle with all about Rob Van Dam. They don't really react well in terms of The Office. It's maybe different now, but they don't really react well with the I'm just chill, man.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be here. I'm not trying to beat anybody up, because
Yeah.
they don't get it. They don't understand. Vince didn't know what 420 was when he first signed Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
And so they don't know. They only know how I'm going to beat you up because I don't like you.
Yeah.
They don't like the guy like, I'm just here to make money, man, and I'm not trying to start beef with anybody. That's what Matt Riddle is.
Yeah.
And even though incredible athlete, has the look, the size, everything that Vince wants, and he doesn't wear. Do you think they make him wear shoes?
I hope not, but they're going.
Yeah,
they're going.
They made Rusev wear
will,
shoes.
They will eventually. They made Snuka wear shoes eventually.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. You know, like, well, you know what? What's funny is like, okay, so they didn't know what to do with Rob Van Dam when he first came in and everything like that. It's a way different time now. In that, like, I feel like, not that they necessarily like encourage a 420 attitude backstage. I would assume that they don't, but I feel like there's actually that could be a really killer character where it's somebody who's just kind of like this chill kickback guy who can kill you, who can just destroy you. You know, who seems really chill and kick back, but then when you get in the ring, he kills you. You know, there's something that they could play with on that too. So like, I don't know if they take it that way and everything, because like anybody who has a UFC background, I feel like they're gonna paint like, you know, Brock or like Lashley.
I don't see him being as dominant. I don't see them building him as a monster.
Yeah,
because he's just not.
Yeah, he's not.
And
well, he was on. He was on a winning streak in UFC when he got fired. It's not like he got fired from UFC because he was losing or anything like that.
Very different environment.
He is just as much of a beast as Brock Lesnar is. Like, he could honestly kick the shit out of almost every guy in WWE. Probably.
That's not the same thing. Like ability, sure.
Yeah.
But look, not at all. Not at all. Like, you don't look at Matt Riddle and you're like, oh my god, you look at him like that dude's in shape, but I also want to be friends with him.
True.
Yeah. You don't look at Brock Lesnar and you'd be like, I want to get a beer with Brock Lesnar.
No,
you know what?
You want to get like an ice cream cone with
but
Matt Riddle.
I do think there's two different kinds of. Well, there's multiple kinds of wrestlers that are successful. But I think one of the wrestlers that one of the things you look for in a popular wrestler, a wrestler who's going to get over with everybody, is someone that girls want to have sex with, that guys want to be friends with. You know, and I think Matt Riddle falls in that perfectly.
But we also know that Vince likes to throw labels on people.
Yeah, but he's like he's like a good-looking young blonde dude. That's like right up Vince's alley. That's like,
yeah,
honestly,
I said, he has the look.
He might not be as bulky as Hulk Hogan, obviously, but he's got that like young surfer buff dude look.
And by the way,
American as fuck.
We have seen when talent goes to the Performance Center, they get in shape.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even the guys who are sort of skinny fat,
true,
they lose that shit. I mean, look at it, Carl Anderson, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Both of them, Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah.
Like everybody just gets in suit, because when you get this facility,
yeah,
you just fucking go.
Cassius Ohno, maybe not.
Not. But
not everybody needs to. It's not like JBL was some modicum or some bastion.
No, he was.
But like
skinny fat.
Ciampa. Like, look at Ciampa now compared to Ciampa
true.
when he got signed. I mean, Ciampa, granted, he had a year off to just focus on getting big.
And tan.
Also, speaking of that.
He got real tan.
Speaking of that, I love, because Ciampa won the belt. Obviously, he won the NXT title
It's
this
not a
week.
spoiler.
It's not a spoiler anymore. It happened. It's out. Sorry. If you didn't watch it, I'm sorry. It was yesterday.
Sorry. That's life.
But I love that Triple H posted a picture of him and Ciampa just
from extremely popular
due to
demand.
extremely popular demand. He
He's
posted
like, I'm gonna have
the
to do
posing picture with
I'm
him
gonna have
and
to
Ciampa.
do this every time we crown a champion.
Oh, I love that. That's
Ciampa
great.
looks so much like my friend Jordy, who has like the same beard. They have like the same beard and face. I'll send you guys a picture.
But
of
then
Jordy.
who that is?
Yeah, what?
Why would you tell everyone? Who knows who that is?
He looks like Adrian Neville more so when he didn't shave. When you look that one picture when he was an extra on SmackDown of Ciampa, he looks like Neville.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, not the nose. But
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Wait, you got to pull this guy's picture up, and then you got to show everyone on YouTube now.
I'll find it for next week.
Okay, good.
Tune in next week.
Tune in next week for my friend Jordy.
Riveting television.
All right, so I hope that we see Matt Riddle at NXT Brooklyn.
Just him in the crowd.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he's one of the only ones who has already been seen in that shot, because he was in the background. Remember, like, he was on a Brooklyn, like, it was like he was in the background.
It may have been that
drinking.
show. It may have been that show when Triple H came up to him and talked to him.
Maybe it might have been, but I love that. I love that he was already in one of those shots technically. So yeah, it's perfect. I love it. Okay, so moving topics here. Let's talk about. We're running lower on time because I chatted and blah 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 blah. But we got a few things here. What do you guys want to talk about here? Let's see. We've got Elias's album.
One more. I mean, what?
Okay,
I didn't
enough.
listen to it, so I can't really talk
Well,
about it.
there we go. That one's off. We've got around how much WWE actually got paid for Greatest Royal Rumble.
Interesting.
I would want to know that.
Okay. Droz and D'Lo Brown announcing that they're going to be doing their first time ever dual photo op together.
Of course, it's the first time.
Tell us how much they made off of the Greatest Royal Rumble. We'll talk about it for a second, and then we'll go into D'Lo and
Okay.
Droz.
Because I think D'Lo and Droz is
That's
money.
We'll
baby.
save it until after how much they
Okay.
made.
Save it for the segment.
So basically, so WWE put out their second quarter earnings report today, and I love this because they in the category where Greatest Royal Rumble resides was under a category of other in the media segment of the earnings report, but last year that same section was $12 million, or sorry, last quarter it was $12 million for that same, guess how much it was now
From 12?
from 12.
28.
Yeah.
Way higher.
Whoa,
50.
really? 40.
Higher.
Whoa, 45.
Higher.
What?
This guy's got a lot of money.
49.
It went from 12 million in 3 months of 2017 to 61 million in 2018.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to put on your own WWE show, just get a good 60 or how many?
So that means
do the
basically
math,
it was
whatever.
like 40. They got upwards of $40 million
Yeah.
for the
Wow.
event.
Wow.
Isn't that
So if you got
crazy?
$40 million to spend,
Well,
For
yeah,
comparison, guess how much? Because in the same earnings report, WrestleMania is listed.
Oh,
how much they
that's-
made for
oh, yeah.
WrestleMania?
37.
20.
It was 14.1 million for WrestleMania 34, and upwards of 40 million for Greatest Royal Rumble. Now you all know. If you all wanted to know why it felt like Greatest Royal Rumble suddenly became more important than WrestleMania, there's your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're
like-
wondering what all this back about people complaining about, like, the rights of people that performing there, if you think they're going to stop doing that, you're 100% wrong.
Aren't
They're
you worried about the negative feedback? No. We made $40 million.
We just made so much fucking money.
We made
absolutely
in a
we-
night. In a night.
We just got 3 WrestleManias worth of money.
in
That's
one night.
crazy. I can't believe that.
Isn't that insane?
That has to be like I would be interested to see. I mean, that has to be the highest pro wrestling gate of all time.
If they don't put out a 24 on the Greatest Royal Rumble, they're tripping.
They can't.
Why not?
Just because of all the controversy around it.
They filmed everything.
You're right. You
They
are right.
filmed everything.
I mean, I guess for next year they
Wow.
could do one.
That's astronomical. I'm in disbelief about that.
It's honestly, it's insane. Like now you understand why they brought back Rey Mysterio, why they flew out all these people, why they did all these things. Like it all makes sense.
I mean,
now.
on a single day level,
Because they had the money.
on a single day level, that's more money than most blockbuster films make when it comes down to it in a single
day!
in a day. So that's crazy.
that's like
I'm curious to see what Melbourne's going to do then.
that's a good point. I didn't even
I'd
think
be
about
willing.
that.
I'd be interested to see how much, like, if you broke it out based off of time, like how much every second was worth, how much Titus O'Neil's slide was worth at that event.
Titus O'Neil has.
That slide was like
if
that,
which,
someone
by the
who's
way-
better with math
by
than
the
me
way-
could do that, I would love that.
that's like
By
a
the way-
$40,000 slide.
By the way, tell me the most memorable moment from Greatest Royal Rumble.
Titus
Yeah, that's
slide.
That's the moment.
That's fucking wild.
yeah, it is.
Of a $40 million show.
Yeah, it's Titus O'Neil sliding under the ring.
Yeah.
Good for Titus.
Not the cage match with Brock Lesnar.
No,
Not the.
I would suggest that nothing about Greatest Royal Rumble outside of that slide had any relevance on the remainder of WWE.
It was like
television.
that.
It was a glorified
It was like
house show.
that, and Daniel Bryan finally being used correctly in a
Yeah.
Royal Rumble. That wasn't actually the real Royal Rumble, so it didn't
Yeah,
fucking matter
didn't matter,
anyways.
nope.
So yeah, Titus was that was the highlight for sure.
Wow. Somebody figure out how
Yeah.
much that slide is worth. I'd love to know that.
I would love to hear that math. Someone.
I'm
make
gonna
that
guess
happen.
$37,000 is what that slide
Most
would be
expensive slide
worth.
there is.
Oh, for sure.
What
That's
else
like
is it saying here? It says
Hey, and by the way, I just want to touch on this for a second because I think it's so dope that I've never seen anybody do this in this way, because there have been people who have gotten over without the WWE plenty of times, but I've never seen somebody's real life, like I've never seen some Jim Hellwig get over more than the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
But Dad Titus O'Neil, Charity Titus O'Neil,
yeah.
Thaddeus is way more over
For sure.
than primetime player.
You know
or,
what though? This week on Raw was the most I ever felt like he was over
got a
on
reaction.
Raw. Like it was the
And
first
even-
time
even-
they treated him seriously. The way they had Apollo hype him up of like,
Apollo's-
this guy did everything for my career. Like this guy taught me this, and I was like, and then like this guy's lasted more. And you were just sitting there thinking like,
He has been here for a
he
while.
has been there.
No,
for
like he showed up
You
on
know what? We
NXT
should
season
respect
2.
Titus O'Neil more.
He's been around since NXT season 2, which was like 2009 or something like that. Like he's been around the block.
No,
already.
absolutely. I mean, his tag team partner's gone.
You know, this is what
like,
we were talking about. We talked about this many moons ago now at this point. But like Heath Slater has been around since NXT season 1, and he was in FCW.
Yeah, I was
before
gonna
that.
yeah.
That guy's had a long tenure. Like when you see pictures of him now backstage with Jinder and with
McIntyre.
and Drew, like you just like
I forgot that happened.
me too. And I'm just like, dang, like he stood the test of time somehow.
And
Feeding his kids.
I'm all for it. I love Titus.
Yeah.
Titus is a great human
No, for
being.
sure. Like I think he's a great character. Like
me too.
I honestly like him a lot. I don't necessarily think that they've played the character in the way that they could have and everything like that. But
Do
again,
you guys agree with me that this was kind of like the best they'd ever used Titus Worldwide in a serious, like
Yes,
in a
and
serious
the reaction.
way?
But by
Yeah.
the way, did you hear that mini pop that Apollo's Enziguri got?
Yeah.
They got a great reaction.
I also liked the way Dana was used. Like I liked when they had that thing and the Authors of Pain like talked shit about.
They had to
them.
hold her back?
They had to hold her back.
Yeah.
Like that. It wasn't her holding them. I loved that. Then they were like, "Hey, hold on, let's go."
man,
But
talking
that-
about having to reboot the
Authors.
of
I
Pain.
know, man.
They have been using. They gave them the microphone.
I know.
Who told them to do that?
That was the first time we were like, "Oh, yeah, well,
That's
maybe
like-
they should have kept Paul."
It's
Ellen
like when
with
they
it."
Yeah.
had WWE ECW and they're like, we're gonna have Sabu talk. It's like he's never talked.
Yeah, it's like,
That's
why
his
would
whole
you do
gimmick.
that?
He doesn't talk.
Why would you do that?
Okay, so let's talk about this other thing here.
Yes, this is
This was
bizarre.
fucking wild to
It's
me.
bizarre.
And people were like, obviously, as Twitter does, people were surprised at my surprise over this. And honestly, even the people here in the office, I showed a few people here, and they weren't as blown away by it as I was.
When
but
you showed me, I was like, is this like a Photoshop fan creation?
I thought when I first read it, I thought this better not be at All In.
so okay,
Like I was like, is this at All In?
so a company called Standalone Wrestling announced
Very fitting name.
that they're gonna at their event called Boardwalk Beatdown that Droz and D'Lo Brown are gonna be doing a photo walk together.
Why did you enunciate boardwalk so weird?
What do you mean? Where?
You said board walk, just boardwalk. It's one word.
Did you get it?
Yes, but
we
I
did,
don't
but
think
it was
you're
also
trying-
called Stand Alone Wrestling.
There we
Yeah.
go. That's why. Did you get it
So
now?
you're trying to make a pun.
Well, it
No,
was-
I wasn't making a pun. I just think that it's a weird coincidence that it had multiple things about
It is.
walk and
It is.
standalone and like and then they look at
Continue though.
like,
Provide the context.
I am okay. Yeah, I'll provide context. They announced that Droz and D'Lo Brown are going to be doing a photo op together. Now, for those of you who might not
We have some
understand
young
why that,
listeners.
for those of you who might not understand why that's weird to do, Droz
At a Raw
was
taping-
paralyzed in 1999 after D'Lo Brown did a powerbomb to him.
it was a running. It was a running power bomb.
was the Sky High.
No, the running
No.
powerbomb.
So
used.
he
The
went-
Sky
he-
High was the other one.
Yeah.
So he was executing a running power bomb. Draw slipped down.
Similar to like a Liger bomb, like where
Like,
you do the.
and it never aired. It was
No.
during a taping. I think it was during a Raw
Smackdown.
taping.
It was Smackdown.
Was it a Smackdown?
I looked it
taping?
up this
It was
week. Yeah.
Smackdown.
But regardless,
That's why I didn't air because it was days before.
I
They
thought
filmed.
maybe it would be like when they taped Raw on Tuesday after they did the live
Yeah.
one. But
Yeah.
regardless, though, Droz he was paralyzed immediately after that, and he worked behind the scenes for WWE.com, I believe, for many years after that.
And I also look at I get that he's never held a grudge against D'Lo. I get that that's great that he is able to live his life and not be held down by that. But I just don't understand why anyone would pay money to want to take a photo with those two guys
Yeah.
to commemorate that moment.
I don't know why anybody would want to go take a picture of Christopher Reeve and the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't-
oh my god! I've been trying in my head to equate it to what that would be like.
And that's
that
it.
is
Was-
100% what it would be like.
Was that a thing?
Yeah, Christopher
Yeah,
Reeve
that's what
got
I got.
paralyzed.
No, I know, but
No, it's-
I thought there was there a photo shoot with him and the horse?
No, I'm saying, but that's what it
Photo
is.
shoot of Christopher Reeve and the horse.
I was like, Christopher Reeve would never do that.
It's just
He was
Christopher.
an advocate.
Like,
not
I
Paul
may,
Heyman
I
style
may be
advocate.
paralyzed, but he's glue now.
It's just him holding up a glue bottle. He was taking pictures of me in this glue bottle. That's fucked. We're so bad. But
May Christopher Reeves rest in peace.
yeah, R.I.P.
Superman forever.
R.I.P. Superman. But yeah, so I just the setting up of this meet and greet was so confusing to me. And then, all the comments in the post were like, what? Or like, one guy even said, I'm the one who made a joke about, because I guess from what I put together, Droz and D'Lo were both going to be at this event already.
So it wasn't announced before.
No, I think what it was, they were separately announced for the event. And from what I put together on on Facebook, they were separately announced for the event. And then some guy made a joke like, well, you guys should do a photo op with Droz and D'Lo. And the promoter took it seriously and then told them, and they were like, yeah, we should do that. And so they set this up. But because the guy said hey, I was just joking about this, when I made that joke, it wasn't something I actually thought they were going to do. And he was like, well, no, I told the talent about it and they thought it was great. So we're going to do it. And, he said the talent are choosing to do this. It's a beautiful thing that such a sad situation can be moved on from. But hey, you must know everything.
Hey, but
right?
it's such a weird meta sort of thing that only pro wrestling fans would be into.
Yes.
But by the way, picture the visual.
Yes.
You're going to be standing next to a paraplegic.
Yeah.
You're literally, and you're all going to be sitting there smiling together.
Next to the guy who did it.
Who did it?
I just don't understand the appeal of that. I'd much prefer to take a picture with Virgil at Olive Garden than I would to take a picture with D'Lo.
I much prefer to take a picture with Virgil fucking anywhere.
And what do you do?
this.
Smile?
That's what I want to know.
Like one of these?
Hey, D'Lo, can you pick me up and put me in a powerbomb position?
Oh my God!
What are they going to do? That's what else do you do in that situation.
Hey. Oh, never mind. I'm not even going to say it.
I'm
not even gonna.
I'm gonna puke.
Yeah.
I like how you look at me because there's a camera now there, so you give me that.
I'm
I'm not even gonna say it.
No.
He's gymming it right now.
I did.
Never mind. I won't say it.
Say it.
What?
Oh no, I'm scared.
Droz is healed, and he stands up
Oh my God.
and challenges D'Lo.
D'Lo.
He challenges D'Lo
And then they
to a
all
sing-off.
whip
Yeah. No, he challenges D'Lo to a match.
That wasn't even offensive. It just doesn't make sense. You think he was
'Cause his
willingly
limbs would
sitting
be
in the chair this whole time?
His limbs would be atrophied.
Hey, this is the long con. And this is the longest angle of all time.
I will say I agree with the fact that this. Oh, fuck! I lost my train of thought. You just threw up that really weird.
I'm sorry, but that would be incredible.
What do you do in that picture though? Do you smile?
Is it gonna be?
For those of you not watching on YouTube, it's just Jamie and Eli doing the two sweets. They're just too sweet.
Isn't that what the standard wrestling fan
I
photo
would say
is?
if I was gonna do it, if I was gonna take this picture, what I would do is I would put Droz in a sleeper, and I'd have D'Lo put me in a sleeper, and we'd kind of be like a totem pole type situation. That's probably
what
how
else
I'd
can
plan
you
it.
do?
Yeah, that gets us all. It's fun.
It's fun.
That's the main thing. It's fun.
Oh man, guys.
Well, bless their hearts.
I hope that they make $40 million off this, a la the Greatest Royal Rumble. I hope they make $40 off of it at least.
I mean,
I hope someone takes the picture. It'd be sad if no one takes it. I get it if no one does.
I'd be too scared. Would you post that on your Instagram?
I mean, at this point, I would now because I talked about it so much, but I wouldn't have done that if prior.
It's out of context. It's oh, who are these people? Oh, this is one of my favorite wrestlers when I was growing up, and that's the guy that paralyzed me.
Yeah. Oh, this is my favorite wrestler. He used to puke.
Yeah, and then this is the guy.
And then
that
this guy
crippled
that crippled him.
That's actually what you do in the picture. You just puke.
He's just gonna puke.
Yeah. That's the video I want of me puking and then
like
Droz over me going he's gonna puke.
It's like D'Lo sticking his finger in your.
I would love a picture.
D'Lo, can you just take this picture video of me and Droz, please?
I would love to have
this whole
a
thing's
picture.
awkward.
By the way, I would love to have a picture next to Droz of me holding a bucket.
Yeah.
That'd be a great picture.
Yeah.
And I'd love to have a picture of me and D'Lo where we're both doing the head shake.
It would have to
he
be a
should
gift for sure.
No,
Yeah.
he needs to, much like Animal does with the shoulder pads, he needs to bring around the chest protector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I don't want is a picture with both of them.
Are they buds? Literally.
They can't be like buds.
I mean, they it feels so awkward. Why would they both agree to this?
Also, okay, lastly,
Also,
before we're
how
done
often
here,
is Droz booked on shows?
not often.
Okay.
Not
Yeah,
very
because
often.
I'd imagine the accommodations would have to be different.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good call.
It's in, I think this is in New Jersey. Isn't that where he lives too? Isn't Jersey where he's from?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's probably local too. Should we talk about this Nazi wrestler gimmick at all?
Sure, why not? Everybody else is.
So so basically I tweeted this video. It's from a company called WWWA in
3 W's?
Yeah, it's 3 W's. And I think it's in Ohio, I want to say. I'll pull it up right here. I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about it.
Worldwide Wrestling
Yeah,
Association.
Worldwide Wrestling Alliance is their name. And basically there's a wrestler there named Blitzkrieg, the German Juggernaut, and he uses a Nazi gimmick. It's in Pennsylvania.
Which, by the way, it's a shame. It's a shame that it's a Nazi gimmick because that's a great name.
Blitzkrieg, the German Juggernaut?
Yeah.
Well, Blitzkrieg was a wrestler in WCW.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying it's the German Juggernaut. That's
It's
a
good
great
name. German Juggernaut
That's
is a good
great
name.
name. It's a shame
good
that
name.
it's a horrible character.
Yeah, it's basically, so for those of you who didn't see the video I tweeted, it's kind of gone viral. It's been a bunch of places now.
I've seen it all over the place.
Yeah, it's been a bunch of big sites and stuff. I actually might talk about it on CNN tomorrow.
Wow.
Or on Saturday, sorry. I know they
kinda
reached
hope
out
that
to me.
happens.
They reached they're like, I think it's happening. They're sending a car. So far, unless some big wrestler rolls in and calls them back, I'm guessing, and I get canceled, they're sending a car
Hey,
for me.
CNN, Val Venus is right about you. You're fake news, bro.
Oh, he's going to be so mad when he sees that I'm on CNN.
I knew he was fake news.
I'm taking this to the post office.
I'm gonna go do an audit outside of CNN. So basically, okay, so this video, I just thought it was crazy from the get-go because basically it is this wrestler and he comes out, he's waving around like the Iron Cross flag, he's doing the Zig Heil,
The
he's-
goose stepping.
he's doing the goose stepping, he's Nazi saluting. But the fucking wild part of this video is that the crowd is like cheering for him. He's not like the bad guy you would expect. And then there are children in the crowd who he walks up to, and they're all holding signs for how much they like this Nazi character who's goose stepping. Says Blitzkrieg rules. They've got signs in German that are in support of this guy. It's honestly, it's crazy. If you go look at my Twitter page, I tweeted it on the 18th. It's crazy. And then there's other people in the crowd who are doing the Nazi salute with him. No one's booing this guy. And then he wins. He wins. Everyone's cheering. Everyone's happy he wins. And as someone who celebrates every Jewish holiday with my family, who, my dad's Jewish, watching it and seeing like a room full of people doing the Nazi salute in public and it being like an okay thing where people are cheering, it like terrified me, And so then it came out via the blast that he's a school teacher who has been a school teacher for a very long time, and the kids in the crowd who were cheering him on are his students that he brought to the show. And now when the school found out that
Now they're
investigating and you might get fired. So it's become this whole thing.
Where is this again?
It's in Pennsylvania, in Quakertown, like a small Quakertown kind of thing. Yeah, I know Jamie's eyes lit up. You guys didn't see it over there, but
Quaker?
Jamie gave me a look like, oh, Quakertown, huh?
No,
And I look at
I dated
Not
a
to
girl
say
not
that-
too far from there.
really. I've heard some things. Yeah, I've had a lot of people since this write me from that area of like, yeah, no, this isn't a very surprising thing at all.
Huh.
There's also a wrestler in this company called Blackie. There's a black wrestler named Blackie. This company's kind of clearly they're operating on another level here. But and I had so many people that tweeted me that are like in defense of this guy and are like, "What? You never watch Hogan's Heroes, or you never?" And it's just like, God, times change,
And
man.
and I'm sorry, the Germans always lost in Hogan's Zeros.
Hey, also, I've never watched Hogan Heroes because it's 2018.
Yeah.
That show's on.
Yeah, like and
I've literally never seen it. I used to watch Dobie Gillis on Nick at Night. Okay, like I've seen a lot of old stuff. Hogan's Heroes has never really come up. Regardless, it's not defensible to be like, well, Indiana Jones fought Nazis. It's like, well, yeah, I know, and they got their comeuppance hardcore.
Yeah, they all
And
died.
Like
and
the
they
most
were the
recent-
villain. They were like a dark villain.
And the most recent
And their
thing I can
faces
think of
melted.
where there maybe were a Nazi, where Hitler is on Preacher. Hitler is a character on Preacher. I'm a little behind on this season, but he was last season. He still is, right? But even that, he's not like goose stepping and glorifying Nazism. They play off of the fact that he's this hated person who's in hell, basically, from what I recall. And so it's just, and also, I feel like wrestling has progressed from the stereotypical evil foreigner versus happy American Hulk Hogan.
But even in that sense, so I've seen your interactions with a lot of the followers, and a lot of people are coming to the defense that's saying like, oh, what about the Iron Sheik? What about, Nikolai Volkov? Both from dictatorship countries and stuff like that. Yes, but they lost, and they were the bad guys, and you were supposed to boo them.
Yeah.
Like they were supposed to be. Food's supposed to be thrown at them. You're supposed to hate them because they're evil. They come from a communist country.
They were
or a
destroyed by the
dictatorship.
greatest American.
Yes.
Like that's the big point.
And that doesn't work when the guy is a face.
Yeah.
It doesn't work because then you're glorifying it. And then through that, you're also telling these, especially with children, because you mentioned Preacher. Preacher's an adult show.
Absolutely.
And adults know that Hitler was a horrible person, and
Absolutely.
he probably is in hell if there is a hell. And the fact is, though, these kids don't know that, and we're growing up in a time right now, especially this current time, where racial division is crazy right now.
Yeah.
It is. And when you're an impressionable child and somebody who's not only a wrestler, somebody who's an authority figure, somebody that you're looking at is to rely on to get your information from and develop as a child, as a free-thinking adult, then he's out there goose-stepping and waving an iron cross, then that means it's taking away the importance of that moment in American history. It's taking away the fact that was one of the darkest, if not the darkest time in human history.
World history.
And it's making it light. It's making it a joke.
Yeah.
that we can
I'd
laugh
be
about.
curious to see if he tries to explain it on a level of like, no, like I was playing into a history lesson or some BS like that.
Well, I find that very
if there was
telling.
extra credit
Like,
involved
if he
for
was
coming to
getting
the show.
Well, I find
Booed.
that very telling that of all of this, that he has not said anything publicly.
Yeah.
This teacher, the school now spoke publicly about it, but he and his wife shut down all their social media pages. They're not trying to openly talk about this, which I find interesting. If it was just like
I know why.
character he's playing on in these small little shows, why wouldn't you just say that?
I know why. Because he's trying to save his job as a teacher, because being a teacher pays considerably more than being in some random indie show.
And I would also suggest that he maybe did. There's a potential. I don't know what obviously has happened, but I would suggest that he probably was instructed to do that by people in charge of him in the school system who are basically like, take these things down, don't do this anymore, and you won't lose your job. Because that's the only reason why I could see somebody who was making money off it and appreciate it and enjoyed doing it would just shut all like this off and shut it out of their lives.
I don't know how we'll ever find this out, but I'm genuinely curious what the PTA of that district thinks.
I am also incredibly curious because
Because if this happened at a school in Los Angeles,
my God.
holy shit, this guy.
I couldn't even imagine what would happen out here.
Oh
like,
my God.
If that happened to a school I went to growing up, it would have. I couldn't imagine the way
They'd be
the PTA
chasing
would
him with
react.
with pitchforks.
Yeah.
Which is probably not the correct response to that situation. But yes, I completely agree.
That's how they responded to Frankenstein.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said it.
Well, but you mentioned that you know someone who lived near Quakertown. I'm
Yes.
guessing the PTA is probably not reacting as strongly in this situation.
I mean, I would think that they would, because I feel like whenever something like this happens in any school district, you always see at least 2 or 3 parents being interviewed.
Yeah.
Always.
And this has now been on Washington Post, New York Times.
It's all
AP,
over the place. I mean,
like,
I
everywhere.
would suggest that, like, obviously your site gives it a lot of headway, but once the Blast, which is, one of the biggest entertainment news reporting, outfits there is, if not the biggest, once they start reporting it, then all of a sudden that's when other news organizations like CNN will start picking it up and everything. It's likely one of the reasons that CNN is like,
Well, now that
now it's become this huge story.
Well, now that may force their hand, and they have to fire him. It's a safe face in public,
It's so funny, just like these insular, like little communities, which up until 10 to 15 years ago were protected basically by their own boundaries.
We would have
the
never
limits of
known about
technology.
this back
Well, it's so funny. I thought the same thing when I was doing the pre-interview with CNN. I thought to myself, with social media, it's really taken things that were happening in these small that normally happened in a small isolated instance that were not seen by the masses because it was in this little small town, or it wasn't on video. And now that everything is on video, now that everything does get posted on social media, now that all there's YouTube, there's all this different stuff, there's Snapchat, all that different stuff, it does start to bring things out of the shadows a little bit. And this seems like one of those things. This guy has been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years he's been doing this gimmick. Nobody gave a fuck this whole time.
Yeah.
This Blitzkrieg German juggernaut guy's been running around goose-stepping in Quakertown.
To be fair, nobody would, for the most part, give a crap about it because it's really only that little
20
tiny
people that are in there,
community that ever would see it too.
Yeah.
It's only when somebody finally takes a video of it, posts it somewhere, that eventually other people see it and be like,
That
wait,
people
what
that
the-
don't think that way.
Yeah.
You know?
It's also stuff that happens every day in America that people are so shocked and appalled by. It's like, no, this stuff happens all the time.
all the time, all over the place.
Like for instance, the permit patty thing, where that girl called the cops on the people barbecuing, or the little girl the two
Selling
different
waters,
instances. The two different instances. We would have never found out about that 10 years ago.
Permit Patty is the one with the gas.
Yeah.
What's the lemonade girl? Who's she?
I thought she was Permit
Is she
Patty.
Permit Patty? And the other one is
Barbecue Betty.
Barbecue Betty and Permit Patty. That's what it is. Okay, yeah. Okay, there we go. The Barbecue Betty one was more entertaining to me.
And you know what? I like the
I mean, it was shitty. I didn't mean like that.
No,
I mean the video
I like
itself.
that these things are kind of getting called out because, as we've seen with Patty, Betty, and now with a lot of these guys that Sacha Baron Cohen is exposing, these guys are losing their jobs.
How great is that show?
It's shocking that people are just going along with this. I saw the one with the dude from Georgia who was screaming the N-word, and I was just like,
The sand N-word thing?
But it's like, I don't
And
care
you're
how.
like- you're
how
like-
could you? He's like, I was duped. How?
no.
There's a camera. You're saying it to a
Hey,
camera.
he had his pants down. I mean, it was just like, dude, like, you're a leader?
You're a grown man who could think on your own.
You're an
and
elected leader. What are you doing? Like, how do these people not assume that these things are, whether there's a camera present, aren't going to adversely affect their career?
Well,
regardless
did you see
of
the one
who's
last
asked-
week? With the one last week with the guy where he was doing like the guns for kids thing,
Yeah.
where he was having like stuffed animal guns, and you're like, you were doing that into a camera.
regardless of who's asking the question.
Like if I got to that first line on like a cue card, and you guys know I love notes. I will read my notes if I have them, I'm gonna read those fucking notes, and if they're wrong, I won't even notice sometimes. I would have noticed that. I'd be like, wait, does that just,
You know what I love,
did I just
though?
promote a gun
But he
to
basically
kids?
Ron Burgundied him.
Yeah,
Ron
totally.
Burgundied
Totally.
himself.
You know what I love? It's like the only person who basically called him out for it was like Ted Koppel. He was basically like, no, like, I see what this is.
I
Like,
was so happy Ted Koppel, because right when I saw Ted Koppel, I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't fall for anything. And the fact that he didn't and was like smarter than it, I love that he had that. in
you
there.
know, that's a good journalist right
Yeah.
there.
And
Reads,
then I
reads
also
the facts, reads the room.
And in the one last week where they showed one guy and he was like, wait, what do you want me to read? I'm not read. Why would I ever read this on camera? Who would ever read this on camera? And then it was like 20 other politicians all reading the exact same thing on camera. You're like, oh man, we're fucked. We're fucked.
Yeah.
Okay, well, look, I am so happy we're here.
What a fun first episode.
It was so fun.
Well,
It was
back.
great having you guys here in the office with me now. I've been, I've been prepping everything for your arrival. I feel like we're here now, though. I'm so excited for the future of Wrestling Sheet Radio at Collider. Go check us out. Follow us on social media. It's at Wrestling Sheet. Go follow at Collider as well, at Collider Video. Go check out our YouTube channel where this video, if you're watching on video, you'll see it. But if you're listening on audio, go check out our YouTube channel. It's Wrestling Sheet on YouTube. There's a bunch of different stuff on there I've been putting up. Jamie's got some stuff in the works that he's going to be doing where he's got some fun stuff that he wants to do YouTube-wise. I'm doing different, trying out different things. We put up a video this week about the beef between Roman Reigns and Tama Tonga on social media. Eli and I did a video about Bret Hart and
Martha
Hart. So we've got lots of stuff going up there, so please check us out there. If anyone wants to follow you guys, Jamie, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at JAMIE_IOVINE or on Instagram, JAMIEIOVINE.
And what about you, Eli?
You can find me on Twitter at Elijah Bates, and you can find me on Instagram at Brindlebeard.
And you can find me. I'm at Ryan Satin all across the board. And like I said, Wrestling Sheet. We're on Instagram now as well. We've been on Instagram. Jamie was handling it, but I'm joining him back on the Instagram scene to put some of the videos that are going on our YouTube page and stuff like that. Now, for those of you who are listening in the Collider Factory feed right now, if you enjoyed the show, which I hope you did, I hope you enjoyed the show, please, please, please go subscribe to the Wrestling Sheet radio feed. As I said at the top of the show, we're going to have a bunch of wrestling-related content in there now. So if you like wrestling and you want to hear us all talk about wrestling, if you were already listening to the Collider personalities and you enjoyed hearing their takes on wrestling on Collider Bodyslam, this show, a bunch of other shows, they're all going to lie in the Wrestling Sheet radio feed. Go search Wrestling Sheet Radio. Go subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Leave a review if you like the show. Leave a 5-star rating. All those things helps people find us, and it helps us keep bringing you this show. Okay, that's it. We're done. Officially tapping out. Until next time, stay out of the dirt and keep your eye on the sheet.